Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
What do a Molotov cocktail in San Francisco, an $11 billion space race, and your local Amazon delivery van have in common?
Quite a lot, actually.
Yeah, they are all massive battlegrounds where digital technology is actively colliding with our physical, everyday world. Welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm Alex.
And I'm Morgan.
We are broadcasting to you right here from Snarful Solutions Group in sunny Sacramento, California. Today is Tuesday, April 14th, 2026.
And before we get into today's Morningstar Tech article report, let's get you caught up on what's happening outside your window and, in your wallet.
Yeah, let's look closer at the weather first. Here in Sacramento, we're looking at patchy fog that is going to burn off and turn mostly sunny.
Which is always nice.
Right. We're hitting a very comfortable 69 degrees Fahrenheit with a light breeze right around 2 to 7 miles per hour. But if you're traveling or listening nationally, keep an eye out.
Yeah, definitely.
There are currently 305 active weather alerts across the country, with 169 of those over land. So definitely check weather.gov if you're hitting the road today.
Good call. Well, the financial landscape is looking significantly brighter than that morning fog. The market performance we're seeing right now is just, it's exceptionally strong across the board.
It really is. I mean, the Dow Jones jumped over 500 points yesterday, closing at 48,218.25.
Massive jump.
Yeah, and the S&P 500 rose nearly 80 points, ending the day at 6,886.24. And of course, Bitcoin continues its relentless climb.
As it does.
Right. It opened today at 74,442.23 and closed at 74,682.48. But I think the most encouraging metric for anyone tracking their retirement or, investment portfolios is that all three of these major indicators have seen roughly 3 to 4% weekly gains since last week.
Which is huge. A broad, sustained lift like that indicates a lot of underlying confidence in the market right now. It sets a highly positive financial mood heading into the rest of the quarter.
Absolutely. Today's episode is brought to you by Strong Coffee, the premium instant coffee that tastes like a traditional brew, but is packed with 15 grams of protein, MCTs, and adaptogens like ashwagandha. Get clean, sustained energy without the jitters. Use promo code SNARFL for 20% off at strongcoffeecompany.com.
All right, so our focus for today's Morningstar report tackles a pretty big misconception. We frequently talk about the tech industry as this invisible, cloud-based entity.
Yeah, like software, algorithms, data centers humming away in the middle of the nowhere.
Exactly. But the reality is that the massive infrastructure supporting these digital ecosystems is spilling over into our physical neighborhoods, our atmosphere, and, our social stability.
Let's unpack this. We're looking at logistics, satellite communications, and a really disturbing incident of physical violence in the AI sector.
Yeah.
But let's start right on the ground with Amazon. We are seeing how tech giants are actively trying to clean up their physical footprint right in our backyards.
Which is a big deal for local communities.
It is. Amazon has rolled out a new delivery station that is doubling as a massive real-world exercise in sustainability. They have packed this facility with more than 40 market-ready technologies and systems that are specifically designed to shrink their carbon footprint and, heavily reduce resource usage.
Right. And the emphasis there really needs to be on market-ready technologies working together as a single cohesive unit.
What do you mean by cohesive unit?
Well, when a company of this size talks about a green facility, the assumption is often that they just slapped a few acres of solar panels on the roof and issued a press release.
Yeah, the classic corporate greenwashing.
Exactly. But this is systemic integration.
Yeah.
They are networking their water reclamation systems directly with their temperature regulation.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they are tying their delivery fleet charging stations into massive on-site energy storage solutions. They are even evaluating the thermal dynamics of the building materials themselves to minimize the HVAC load.
That is intense.
It is. It's a complete overhaul of the foundational blueprint for a logistics hub.
It sounds like taking the concept of a personal smart home and just scaling it up to an industrial extreme.
That's a great way to put it.
Like when you optimize your own house, you install eco-friendly water fixtures, a smart thermostat, maybe a home battery wall. You're balancing the input and output of your own little bubble.
Right.
But they are doing that for a facility that processes tens of thousands of packages a day. But I'm going to push back on their motivations here for a second.
Okay, let's hear it.
Retrofitting a facility with 40 new integrated tech systems has to cost hundreds of millions of dollars upfront.
Easily.
So how long does it actually take to see a return on investment for like fraction of a percent energy savings? Is this systemic integration driven by actual economic survival, or is this just an incredibly expensive PR stunt to appease local regulators?
It's a fair question, but the math actually pencils out purely on the economics. You just have to look at the massive scale of Amazon's operation to see it.
Okay, scale it out for me.
Well, logistics is fundamentally a game of extreme margins. Waste of any kind, whether it is idled electricity, inefficient fleet routing, or, municipal water costs, it bleeds the bottom line.
Yeah.
Trimming a fraction of a percent off energy costs at a single facility might take a decade to pay off the initial hardware investment.
Right.
But when you prove the concept and deploy those systems across hundreds of fulfillment centers globally, those micro-efficiencies compound into billions of dollars in permanent operational savings. Yeah. The PR value and the regulatory goodwill are really secondary benefits to the core objective, which is shielding their supply chain from future resource constraints and price volatility.
That makes total sense. And for you, the listener, going about your day, especially if you are a working professional or raising a family in a community where one of these massive industrial hubs operates, the corporate motivation really matters less than the physical result.
Exactly. The end result is what impacts you.
Right, because the result is cleaner local air. It means these massive warehouses are putting significantly less strain on your municipal water supplies and local power grids during peak hours.
Which prevents things like local brownouts.
Exactly. As the logistics industry shifts this baseline, the immediate physical environment around these commercial zones becomes tangibly healthier.
Yeah, it's a localized benefit of a macro corporate strategy. They fix their bottom line, and the surrounding neighborhood gets less diesel exhaust and fewer grid issues.
It's a great localized benefit, but Amazon's ambitions right now are anything but localized.
Yeah, no, they are definitely not.
No. While they are overhauling the infrastructure on the dirt, they are making an even more aggressive and expensive infrastructure play up in the stars.
A much more expensive play.
Yeah, Amazon just entered into a definitive merger agreement to acquire the satellite operator Globalstar for $11.57 billion.
That number is just staggering. And the structure of this acquisition is a massive flex of Amazon's financial leverage. Well, they are acquiring Globalstar for $90 a share. That represents a 23.5% premium over the closing price right before the announcement.
Wow, almost a quarter premium.
Yeah, and they are giving Globalstar shareholders a choice. They can take that payout in cash, which Amazon has capped at 40% of the total shares, or they can convert it into Amazon stock.
Okay.
And the entire deal is projected to close in 2027.
The obvious question here is the why. Why drop nearly $12 billion on a legacy satellite operator? I mean, Amazon already has its own satellite internet initiative, right?
Yeah, Project Kuiper.
Right, Project Kuiper, also known as Amazon Leo. And haven't they already committed like $17 billion to building that out?
They have.
So why buy Globalstar instead of just pouring that $11.5 billion into manufacturing their own hardware?
Because Amazon isn't primarily buying the metal floating in space.
Okay, what are they buying?
They are buying the invisible infrastructure that makes that metal useful. Specifically, they're buying spectrum and time.
Spectrum and time.
Yeah. Globalstar holds globally harmonized L-band and S-band spectrum licenses. For anyone tracking the telecommunications sector, you know that spectrum, the radio frequencies used to transmit data, is a finite, heavily regulated global resource.
And the L-band and S-band frequencies are basically the absolute holy grail for direct-to-device communication.
Exactly.
Because unlike higher frequency bands that offer massive data speeds but get easily blocked by buildings, heavy rain, or even like thick cloud cover, L-band and S-band frequencies have incredible penetration characteristics.
They're cut right through it.
Yeah, they can punch through bad weather and connect directly to the small antenna inside a standard smartphone.
Which is why those licenses are invaluable.
Yeah.
You can manufacture 10,000 satellites, but if you don't have the international legal rights to broadcast on those specific penetrating frequencies across more than 120 countries, your network is useless for mobile users.
Right. It's just space junk.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By acquiring Globalstar, Amazon instantly absorbs those global licenses, along with a fully operational ground station network that spans 24 gateways around the planet.
And that plays directly into the time factor you mentioned.
Yep.
Buying Globalstar is like Amazon buying the only existing transcontinental highway instead of waiting 5 years for the international permits to pave their own road.
That's a perfect analogy.
Right now, Amazon LEO only has roughly 180 to 200 satellites in orbit. Contrast that with SpaceX's Starlink, which has over 10,000 satellites currently operating.
A huge gap.
Massive. And Amazon has been facing immense regulatory pressure from the FCC regarding their deployment deadlines. So this acquisition compresses years of bureaucratic red tape and internal development, fast-tracking their timeline to launch direct-to-device cellular services by 2028.
The timeline totally makes sense, but the actual execution of this merger involved one of the most complex corporate standoffs we've seen this year.
Oh, yeah.
Because the major complication in the room was Apple.
I was reading up on the mechanics of that complication, and it's basically a masterclass in corporate leverage. Apple didn't just have a minor passive stake in Globalstar.
Not at all.
They poured $1.5 billion into the company back in 2024 to acquire a 20% stake. And they did that to lock down the infrastructure required to power the iPhone's emergency SOS feature.
Right.
So Apple basically had a golden ticket and a partial deed to the network Amazon wanted to buy outright.
Which forced a massive three-way negotiation table. You have Amazon wanting total control to fight SpaceX, Apple refusing to lose the backbone of their flagship safety features, and Globalstar just caught in the middle.
Sounds tense.
Very. The resulting agreement stipulates that Amazon LEO will now power Apple's entire suite of satellite services. That includes emergency SOS, messages via satellite, Find My, and roadside assistance.
So essentially, Amazon pays $11.5 billion for the Cosmic Express lane to catch up with Elon Musk, and Apple gets to keep riding shotgun without having to build and maintain their own multi-billion-dollar satellite constellation.
That's exactly it. It solves both of their immediate problems. Amazon gets the spectrum and the gateway infrastructure to rival Starlink's dominance, and Apple guarantees that their safety-critical services remain operational. And they likely get significantly faster as Amazon upgrades the hardware.
For the everyday consumer, this kind of consolidation is, a complex reality to navigate.
It is.
On the positive side, putting the logistical and financial juggernaut of Amazon behind this network ensures it will be robust and reliable. But on the flip side, we are watching the creation of a massive oligopoly over global off-the-grid communication.
Yeah, that's the concern.
You have SpaceX on one side and an Amazon-Apple alliance on the other. Over time, that lack of competition in the space sector is going to dictate the pricing power for these direct-to-device services.
The financial implications for the consumer might tighten over the next decade, sure, but the physical reality of this technology today is undeniably life-saving.
Absolutely.
The infrastructure these companies are battling over is actively pulling people out of fatal situations.
Yeah, the sources actually highlighted 2 specific recent examples of this exact Globalstar network in action.
I saw those.
A scout troop was stranded on a remote winter hike in British Columbia and used the satellite connection to coordinate a rescue.
Amazing.
And in Colorado, a woman was airlifted to safety after her car rolled 250 feet down a cliff into an area with 0 cellular reception.
Terrifying, but thank goodness she had that tech.
Exactly. Without that orbital infrastructure, those isolated incidents end in tragedy. For families listening who travel, hike, or drive through dead zones, knowing that a multi-billion-dollar safety net is hovering right above you provides incredible peace of mind.
It is a really comforting thought that the tech industry is deploying this immense power to build safety nets in space.
Yeah.
But the sheer scale of that power and the rapid deployment of artificial intelligence is creating a very different reality on the ground. The anxiety over tech's influence on our society is boiling over into actual physical violence.
Yes, and as we unpack this next incident, it is vital to separate the physical act of violence from the broader social discourse.
Absolutely.
We want to explicitly state that we are impartially reporting the facts of this escalation directly from law enforcement and the provided sources. We are not endorsing any views, nor are we taking a side in the very complex ongoing debates about AI safety and its societal impact.
Right, we are just giving you the facts of what happened.
Exactly. As OpenAI themselves stated in response to this event, a healthy democracy requires good faith debate. There is absolutely no place for violence, regardless of your stance on artificial intelligence.
And the facts of this incident are truly harrowing.
Yeah.
The U.S. Department of Justice has officially charged 20-year-old Daniel Moreno-Gama from Spring, Texas. According to the federal criminal complaint, the timeline began on Friday, April 10th, when Moreno-Gama traveled from Texas to San Francisco.
Okay.
That evening, he approached the private residence of OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and threw a Molotov cocktail at the home.
Just incredible. After attacking the private residence, he fled and went directly to the headquarters of OpenAI. He smashed the glass front doors of the building with a chair.
Jeez.
Yeah, and once he broke the glass, he explicitly threatened to burn the entire building down and kill anyone inside.
It's terrifying. Fortunately, no one was injured in either location. Police arrived rapidly and arrested him outside the OpenAI offices. But the inventory of what he was carrying when arrested really highlights the severity of his intent.
What did he have on him?
Law enforcement recovered incendiary devices, a jug of kerosene, and a blue lighter.
Beyond the physical weapons, they found a 3-part manifesto he authored titled Your Last Warning.
Right, the manifesto.
The contents of this document map a really disturbing psychological shift from abstract internet-formed dread to targeted, radicalized violence. The document explicitly advocated for the killing of AI CEOs and tech investors. It went as far as listing the names and physical addresses of apparent board members of various AI companies. It also featured a chilling note addressed directly to Sam Altman, demanding that if he survived the initial attacks, he must redeem himself.
That is deeply unsettling. And it demonstrates a high degree of premeditation.
Yeah.
Investigators discovered that on the same day he executed these attacks in San Francisco, he emailed a version of this manifesto to representatives at his former college, Lone Star College in Texas.
And because of that premeditation and the use of explosives, the legal consequences he is facing go far beyond vandalism or standard property damage. Moreno-Gama is facing severe state and federal charges.
Really serious charges.
Yeah, the list includes attempted murder, which covers both Altman and the security personnel present. It also includes attempted arson, possession of an unregistered firearm, and the use of explosives.
The way the justice system is categorizing this violence is a critical indicator of how the government views attacks on the tech sector. Well, Craig Masakian, the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of California, issued a very pointed statement regarding the prosecution. He stated that if the evidence shows Moreno-Gama executed these attacks in an attempt to change public policy or to coerce government and other officials regarding artificial intelligence, they will prosecute this as an act of domestic terrorism.
Domestic terrorism. That legal threshold is a massive shift in the landscape for working professionals in this industry.
Huge shift.
The tech sector's foundational ethos has always been to move fast, break things, and operate with open campus-style environments. But when the disruption caused by your software triggers this level of societal anxiety, the physical walls literally have to go up.
Right.
Does this mean the leaders of these companies now have to operate with the security apparatus of high-level political figures?
I mean, that is the new reality. The philosophical debates we have all engaged in regarding AI, the discussions about job displacement, existential risk, and the loss of human agency, they're no longer confined to boardrooms or academic papers.
Clearly not.
When the FBI, San Francisco acting special agent in charge, publicly states that they will not tolerate threats against the nation's innovation leaders, it is a formal acknowledgement that the tech sector is now a physical battleground for ideological conflicts.
Yeah.
Violence cannot be the accepted norm for expressing disagreement with technological progress, but these companies are now forced to build physical moats to defend against it.
Before we wrap up, a quick thanks to Old Glory, an iconic music and sports fan merch store. Perfect for the techie in your life. Use promo code SNARFL for 15% off at oldglory.com.
If we step back and look at the progression of the systems we've explored today, there is a very clear defining through line.
Yeah, we started on the ground with Amazon overhauling our local delivery routes, trying to physically harmonize their massive industrial logistics footprint with the local environments we live in.
Right.
We then zoomed out to orbit, looking at a multi-billion-dollar alliance between Amazon and Apple that is literally securing our physical safety nets from space.
And then back down.
Yeah, finally, we came crashing back down to Earth to confront the intense, dangerous friction caused when the rapid development of artificial intelligence collides with human anxiety.
And the common denominator connecting all of these dots is entanglement.
Entanglement.
Yes. Our physical neighborhood logistics, our global emergency communications, and our most intense societal anxieties are all becoming entirely entangled with the decisions made by just a handful of incredibly powerful tech giants.
Which leaves you with a critical question to consider as you navigate the rest of your day.
What's that?
As everyday citizens, how do we maintain our autonomy, our sense of individual control and agency in a world where these few companies are simultaneously the ultimate architects of our safety nets and the primary lightning rods for our greatest controversies?
Finding the balance between relying on their infrastructure and preserving our independence is truly the defining challenge of our era.
We're here to help at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.